That's crazy. Welcome, guys, to We Don't Know Ball basketball edition this week with Gunnar, the runner, as another guest of ours, soon to be third host because
Just
fuck you,
shut
Retro.
up. It's so
Every week we'll
overplayed.
start off like
So
that until the day
overplayed.
we die. Um,
Hell meme
Gunnar,
overplayed.
That's really insensitive wording based on today.
Hell meme played. So overplayed.
Gunnar, how you doing, man?
Doing all right.
Yeah, short and
Yeah.
sweet this week.
The man of few words.
Man, a
I
few
am
words.
this week. It's been an up and down day.
I
So.
feel you. But again, what's up, guys? Retro and Justin, how are you guys feeling about the basketball topics that I'll bring up this week?
I'm good, man. I am in a state of peace and calm with the world, and I don't want to talk about anything that has to do with the team in red. So we can talk about anything else.
That's fine. We won't talk about the Atlanta Hawks.
No, that's
Yeah,
not the
we
team.
won't talk about the Hawks.
We won't talk about the Wizards.
No,
Wizards.
those are not the teams that I'm referring to.
Oh, the Wizards?
No.
Right. What we will absolutely talk about, why I have this set specific jersey on from said Chicago Bulls franchise, is the highly anticipated retirement, their jersey retirement of said Derrick Rose, the king of Chicago, at least for the period that he was there. And I know both Justin and Retro are big D Rose guys, so I am paying homage to their guy. And I think that when watching that back, I think there's a lot of stuff that Derek specifically said that I think the world narratives for damn near 13 years have finally kind of put to rest if we value what they say. And I like at that point during an interview, not really an interview, a monologuing of his career, right? I think the biggest thing that I took out of that was a lot of people put the big blame on why Derrick Rose got hurt on Thibodeau. And Derrick Rose specifically said, quote, "I don't listen to that. Fuck all that." And I think that's great into the conversation of Thibodeau playing, his guys a whole bunch of minutes, because we know he's kind of just like, if you're the best on the team, you're going to be playing fucking 40 minutes a game. And I think that kind of reinstates Thibodeau a little bit, because depending on how you view Derrick Rose, like, that puts some predicate into Tom Thibodeau is still a good coach, and probably, regardless how you feel about him, probably should still be somewhere within an organization, no matter where. I wanted to start off with our fake, no, I'm kidding, our Chicago Bulls fan. I don't know if you watched it. I think it was a really good ceremony in general. And funny enough, everybody knows the Derrick Rose meme when he shot the game winner against the Cavs, and I believe it was like 2015, 2016. And then Kevin Herter had that game winning shot, and he did the fake D Rose meme. So not talking about the specific game, but just like the ceremony in general. Was it deserved? Does he deserve to have his jersey retired by Chicago? All this kind of stuff, and then I'll go to both Justin and Gunnar on it. Did Chicago do a good enough job in representing him and giving homage to him, or was there a backhanded? Is there anything that you think that could have, like, the overall effects of that?
Yeah, I was very happy with the whole thing. I think that whether or not he deserves a ceremony, absolutely. He's a player that was hurt way too soon in his career, and it derailed everything. But I think that the city saw him as the next coming of Jordan, and I think that they embraced him very wholeheartedly. D Rose was viewed as so much more than just a basketball player. He was he was the beating heart of the city. Like, Derrick Rose would not have needed to walk around with security in any part of Chicago because no one would touch him. He was the type of guy that like is the person to carry a franchise. It's very similar to how Dallas viewed Luka before he left. I think that like I was very happy with the ceremony. I think all that stuff was good. Was very happy with the game winner as well because it kind of felt like universal poetry, like kind of putting an end to that story by, you know, like you said, kind of going back to the meme. And I think it was beautiful. I'm so happy for D Rose that he gets this honor because he 100% deserves it. Even if you can't have the career that you really wanted to have, at the very least you can have the recognition that you deserve and that the city knows you for. And his jersey absolutely deserves to be up there in the rafters. And I don't know, maybe it'll get unretired when his son comes into the league. Fingers crossed. But until that point, yeah, I thought it was great.
Justin, how do you feel? I know you're a big D Rose guy. We've talked about it off screen before.
I'm gonna try to keep this as short as possible because I could talk about this probably for hours, and this was a 17-minute ceremony. So, yes, Derrick Rose 100% deserves this. He's the second most impactful figure to the city of Chicago. Not just basketball player, figure. He grew up, 7 minutes from the arena in a low-income neighborhood. I think Joakim Noah put it the best. You weren't just the Rose that led the city, you were the Rose that came from the city. And the people bought into it. Like, they treated him like a king. He was the king of Chicago. Do I think he deserves this? Absolutely, wholeheartedly. He could have done almost nothing in his career and been relevant, but it was the impact that he brought to the city and the things that he did and the way that he spoke during this ceremony was pure poetry. He basically gave all of the credit and the blessing to the Lord and to his mother. And like, there are things that he talked about that I don't know if anybody would have ever known unless he brought him up, talking about how his mom almost got rid of him because she didn't know how to take care of him, to all of the things that his brothers did, even though they were wrong, they taught him the right way to do things, to his dad being a part of it, which I don't think anybody thought his dad was actually going to be a part of it, even though it was just a little video package. It was beautiful. Watching Joakim and Luell and Taj break down just little aspects of their career. There's also little videos on YouTube where they do like a professional like sit down kind of thing where they react to clips in their career that is also really, really good. They brought Kirk Heinrich back on those that they talk about things and are just like, they talk about the Captain Kirk and how he was this and that. But no, this couldn't have been more beautiful. And I know Jules and Gunnar, as basketball purists aren't going to want to hear this, but Tibbs is right. Not only does he belong in the rafters, but he belongs in the Hall of Fame. He might not be a top 10 point guard all time and be severely overrated because people talk about the what ifs and what could have beens with Derrick Rose. But the fact that he was the youngest league MVP and the impact that he had on the game, I don't know anybody else that describes somebody who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. It's not just about accolades anymore. It's got to be about impact.
And just to add real quick before anybody else hops in, I 100% agree because the Basketball Hall of Fame is very different from the NFL Hall of Fame. The NFL Hall of Fame is very much based on your career, the criteria, all that kind of stuff. The Basketball Hall of Fame is notoriously easy to get into. Many people have gotten into it. It's going to continue to be very, very full. And I think that if anybody deserves to get into an easy to get into Hall of Fame, it's Derrick Rose. Because, like Justin said, outside of play, impact is immeasurable. Derrick Rose had a massive, massive, massive impact, not just on the city, but on the game, and everybody knows about him. I think that if anybody deserves to get in for impact, it's him.
And Retro, as far as your concerns about if PJ makes the league, will they unretire the number one? That was also talked about in a behind-the-scenes YouTube video when the president of the organization, the GM, and everybody talked to Derrick initially a year ago when they were telling him he was going to have his jersey retired. They said the only way that the number 1 will ever be worn in the Chicago franchise is if we get lucky enough to draft your son.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
that
fair.
will happen.
Gunnar, how do you feel? I don't know if you watched it at all, but
I caught the Derrick Rose speech. I was busy that day, sadly, with work.
It's worth the watch if you got time to go back on YouTube.
I'm going to. But the speech from Rose itself, very emotional. It hit like a brick. But like
That's an understatement. Yeah, it was a hard watch, dude.
But with his jersey being retired, he's full on deserves it because of what he meant to that city. Throughout growing up there, being the hometown kid that's given the keys to the franchise, it's very like just pure heartwarming story in a way until the injury happens. But like I said, the meaning of him's there. It's like Nick Collison for the Thunder. That's what he meant to OKC. Really was so impactful to them. That's why his jersey's in the rafters. It's not just about the accolades he has as a Chicago Bull. It's his meaning to them and their franchise and that city. For the Hall of Fame part, I myself don't think he should be a Hall of Famer. However, with the Basketball Hall of Fame and what the requirements are, he's definitely getting in, and I'm fine with it. I just don't. Because it's the Basketball Hall of Fame in general. There's other parts of your career that go into it. As a whole, it's not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's the basketball. So he will for sure be in just based off basketball.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Because it's a basketball Hall of Fame, I don't know, like I don't think he'll be a first ballot, but he'll definitely be a Hall of Famer regardless. Because, like you said, Gunnar, it is a basketball Hall of Fame, so it encompasses specifically impact, and you can't talk about Chicago basketball without Derrick Rose. Point blank, period. Like, Derrick Rose is such a big chapter, even though it might be a small chapter, it's a chapter nonetheless, and he deserves everything that he got. I do think there are people that do overrate his career, but in terms of what the impact was for a city, I don't disagree about the jersey retirement, because as a Spurs fan, I have a jersey retired based off of less than what Derrick Rose gave you. Derrick Rose basically gave you 3 years. A guy up in my rafters played 2 playoff series, and he has his jersey retired. Famously, you guys know me as the Johnny Moore guy. He has his jersey retired for San Antonio because of literally 2 playoff series. That's it. So if you're impactful in any way, shape, or form in a city or a franchise because of what you're able to do, I'm totally okay with that. There's exceptions to every single rule, and Derrick Rose, I do understand, is the exception of the rule because of the impact of what he was able to do for Chicago. I'm with that entirely, and like you said, Justin, that speech was incredibly moving for a lot of people, specifically in Chicago, and hopefully with the next chapter in Chicago, hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel. But I know our guy Retro here doesn't want to talk about them. He's encompassed the let's not talk about him and let's go on. My next thing, moving on from that, is talking about current day stuff. The big connection there in Milwaukee with Giannis. Giannis is now going to miss 4 to 6 weeks with yet another calf strain. And if people were watching Bucks games when he came back from his original calf strain, he is starting to look like a villain. He's very visibly frustrated with the team. He's visibly frustrated He's not getting back on defense. There's low effort. He's disengaged in the huddles during timeouts and all this kind of stuff. And I've been very on the fence about Giannis leaving, or at least specifically getting traded, because not even just for my organization, but just organizations in general, if you have a young core, I don't think you're able to mortgage your future to go and get somebody like Giannis. I think you should wait until the offseason. But at this point, Giannis, I think Giannis has played his last game as a Buck. Justin, I'll start with you. Do you think that Giannis now gets traded?
You already know my standpoint on this. Giannis has already played too many games as a Buck, and this is slowly starting to become cinema in my eyes. This is literally you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And as much as a villain role as everyone wants to paint this out to be, no, this is Giannis hitting untapped potential that we didn't see before. This is the cutthroat killer that we needed to see come out of Giannis. Everyone thought it was the 50-piece that he put up in the finals against the Suns. Absolutely not. No, Giannis untapped the potential by dunking on the Bulls in garbage time when the game was over. Giannis said, fuck what you heard, I'm here. I don't care how bad this team behind me is. We're going to do stuff. And Giannis has bought into the city. Giannis has done all this. And it feels like the city has just turned, as someone who lives here, it feels like the city has turned their back on him. As much as fans want to say, oh, well, we don't want Giannis to leave, we want this, we want that, ain't nobody standing up and fighting the front office about these trade allegations and these trade rumors in the offseason. Nobody stood up. Nobody said anything. Buck's social media is pretty fucking dry about anything under the sun. Now they're just at the point with, oh, well, he's hurt. He doesn't look like he's trying. He's this. They've turned their back on him. So if I'm Milwaukee and I'm the front office and I'm going to be smart, I don't care if you have to take a low ball offer for Giannis. You better get something in return if you're losing that piece. You can't let him finish the season and ride off into the sunset. Because guess what? When that man comes back, we saw what Luka did in the comeback game against Dallas. You thought that shit was impressive? Giannis is going to come back with a vendetta, an agenda, and he's going to have a stat line in his head that he's going to exceed. If he comes back to Milwaukee, he's going to... I don't even want to think about it, bro. The Bucks might have to fucking relocate after that game. That's all. I mean, what's going on in this situation is sad. They've brought a generational talent, zero help. They tried to bring in Dame. Cool, you brought in a declining player. Like, the best shot that they had, the best player they've really brought him, and it's sad to say, the best player that they've brought him in this entire thing was Drew Holiday. And that's crazy to me. Like, him and Middleton came up...
Drew or Chris Middleton, whatever. But I agree.
I don't count Middleton because they drafted him. They're the only two originals from when Milwaukee was dog shit, when they had John Salmons and John Henson and Larry Sanders. Like, when that team was certified just awful. Like, the city has done nothing for Giannis. They have done... The only thing that Giannis has done, or the only thing that Milwaukee has done for Giannis is take the chance on him to draft him. That's it. They have done nothing to help this man along his career. They haven't brought him significant stars. They haven't brought in good enough role players. They've done nothing. They haven't drafted to extend their future and help him out by any means necessary. They're not doing the things that are conducive to winning, and that is why Milwaukee is in the state they are. They hit the peak of the pinnacle, and they dropped immediately after that. First round exit, first round exit, first round exit. Like, it's almost heartbreaking to see a guy who cares so damn much about a city that just doesn't give a fuck about him.
Gunnar, how do you feel?
I wouldn't say the city doesn't give a fuck about him. I'd say it's more of the organization, it feels like, that they don't give a fuck about them. Or him, I mean. I think that if I'm a team, I don't go out and I don't go trade for him. It's a 1.5 year rental. He could walk after that trade. If you're going to go for him, you go for him in the off season. But at the same time, it's like the Bucks need to get
Well,
something
when you
in
trade for
return.
him, you have to have agreed upon sign and trade. That's what it has to be. But Gunnar, I agree with you on the city thing, but let me educate you on a little bit of Milwaukee sports real quick on things that have happened in Wisconsin or Milwaukee to begin with. Retro, you might remember this just because you're a DMV guy. Brewers play the Nationals in a
Oh, I remember this.
in a playoff
Okay.
game. Ryan Zimmerman hits a broken bat pop up to center field. Ball has unbelievable spin rate on it by advanced metrics. Trent Grisham charging in on the ball to make a play on a catch that would end the game. It short hops him. It spins about 3 to 5 feet to his right, our left, and it goes past him into the outfield. A run scores, and the Nationals end up walking him off and eliminating him. You know what happened to Trent Grisham in the offseason? Immediately traded to San Diego. You know what he does the next year? He almost wins a Silver Slugger award.
Yeah.
He almost goes out. He becomes a top player in the league. He develops into a good player.
Yeah.
Another one. Aaron Rodgers gives everything to the Green Bay Packers. We all know how this story ends. Aaron Rodgers basically tells his front office, it's him or me. Who left? LaFleur? No. Rodgers. No. Bye. You're out the door. This is exactly what happens when these cities and franchises don't get their way. These fans, for people that don't understand and don't know how Wisconsin fans work, they are just as bad as Philly fans, minus the racism. I swear on my life. I don't think anyone understands. They only talk about their teams when they're doing great. Then they go into Dallas Cowboy fucking mentality of this is our year. When things don't go right, it's sell this player, have the owner sell the team, everything under this. Like, these fans here are fucking terrible. They will turn their backs on you immediately in any situation if you're not performing. There is no trust the process here. This is the most mediocre win-now state of sports I've ever seen in my entire existence.
It's because they're spoiled. The Packers have been good for just forever, basically. Like, outside of like a decade of like dryness, they've been phenomenal. Like, and especially recently, they've gone from Favre to A-Rod to, I mean, obviously Jordan Love isn't like amazing, but he's still a very good quarterback with a very good team. Like, so I don't know, they're just spoiled. It's just the way they act.
I mean, I totally understand it. I've had that with my franchises as well, like with the city turning their back on people and them going to do great things. But like at the same time, like again, I think it's management for me. It's all management's issue with the Bucks. Especially right now, we knew the Doc River hiring wasn't going to be anything.
Nope.
I know many people that like it's Doc Rivers. What the fuck are you doing? You know, like Celtics fan. I'm sorry. We shouldn't have won that ring in 08.
But that's the thing that drives me nuts about it is I've been around a long enough time to see the Bucks have a great team outside of the Giannis team. I got to see the Cassell, Allen, Robinson led Bucks when they got to go to the Eastern Conference Finals against AI. I got to see that team
went to the finals, mind you.
I got to see that team play firsthand. The city never turned their backs on those players. They never did anything against those players and did anything. They brought them help. They brought them in Tim Thomas. They brought them in the role players that were needed at the time. The only thing I think that they fucked up on in that time era was when they traded fucking the pick that was Dirk Nowitzki for fucking tractor trailer. What an absolute generational blunder by Milwaukee. So I can understand why they're so hesitant to move off Giannis because they already fucked up by trading one generational talent. They don't want to lose the one that they have now. So I can understand the front office being weary to want to trade him, but at the end of the day, the NBA is a business. It's not a personal relationship. Feelings will get hurt, but you can't have feelings in business. That's not how this works. You have to set your team up to win now. Because at the end of the day, Giannis will retire someday. If you don't set yourself up for the future now, or when he walks, or if he just decides to hang it up like a Calvin Johnson style, you're fucked. You can't win games with Ryan Rollins, MPJ, and fucking Kyle Kuzma, Miles Turner. Are these needle movers for you, Milwaukee? Like, let's be honest here. This is about the equivalent of when you banked on fucking OJ Mayo. Like, figure your shit out.
Retro, how do you feel about the Giannis situation?
Dude, it's just shameful. It's actually such a masterclass in how to absolutely ruin a player's career.
How not to run a front office.
Dude, it's incredible to me. Giannis wins you a chip. So I remember, because this was a long time ago, was the narrative that Giannis couldn't get it done. And there was like a narrative that Giannis didn't have the ability to win a chip because he didn't have like the monster in him. And then he goes and wins a chip. And it's like, all right, Giannis, you've brought us to the mountaintop. We were here, you know, we've won the chip. This is everything that we've wanted. So, of course, the natural move is, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get you more help. We're going to make this team even better. We're going to go out and we're going to build a team around you so we can have a Bucks dynasty. And that is exactly what they did not do.
Let's trade away all our pieces and not make it work.
It makes literally zero sense. They waste Giannis, and Giannis, of course, is frustrated, but because he's a really nice guy, he just stays quiet. He continues to perform, continues to be one of the best players every single year, year after year, and now he's getting frustrated. Yeah, I can't believe he's a saint. If I was Giannis, I would have been frustrated about 3 years ago. I don't understand how he hasn't blown up yet, and I still don't think he will because it's not Giannis' style to blow up. But I think it is very, very, very possible very soon he will be quietly requesting a trade with the front office. It won't probably be something public because I don't think that's the way Giannis is going to go about it. But I think Giannis will go behind closed doors and be like, yo, guys, this is like insane. I'm in the prime of my career. I'm stupid good. I've been in MVP conversations for like half a decade, and we have one ring to show for it. This is not near enough. I need more than Mr. Rollins on my team. Like, please, somebody help me.
Well, maybe there was something in the Kool-Aid. Maybe there was something in the Kool-Aid during that finals because, you know, the other team on the other side of that really decided, hey, we just got to a finals. Unfortunately, we lost in 6 games. You know what we should do? Let's blow up our entire future and try to play win-now ball. I would almost rather the Suns took the Milwaukee route.
It's like, I don't know. I think the Bucks have just absolutely floundered with Giannis. I think that when you have a player like that, you need to be focused on building your entire team around him. We always talk about like windows for teams, right? And the Bucks are extremely lucky because their window is whenever Giannis is on the team. They don't have like a contract window like some teams do that are really good but don't have like a key piece. Their window is whenever Giannis exists. Whenever he's there, that's a window. So you need to take advantage of that massive window you have, a window most teams do not, and you need to go ahead and do something with it. That's my biggest problem with Milwaukee. They didn't do anything with it. And because
I need to ask you though, what are they going to do with it? They barely have cap space. They don't have draft picks. They don't have a future. They have certified bums from the 2 to the 13 spot on their roster. So, like, I don't know what you want them to do. They signed Miles Turner to a deal. Good for you. That was terrible. You traded Chris Middleton, who was a lackluster offense player, to go get a sideshow fucking circus in Kyle Kuzma. You get MPJ out or KPJ out of jail. Good for you, and he comes back and he's hooping. Good for him. But Ryan Rollins shows up. AJ Green shows. Who are these guys? Like, they're nobodies.
By the way, because this is very important. We've seen this happen in NBA history. There have been certain guys where when you trade away like their best friend on the team, they perform noticeably worse. With Giannis, he hasn't performed worse, but Chris Middleton was his guy. Chris Middleton and Giannis were close, man. They were tight. And I don't think getting rid of him was a great idea in retrospect, especially for what they got back. I just feel like it's like every move that the Bucks made has just been stupid. Like, congratulations, yes, you did draft Giannis, so good job for that foresight. But since then, you've been doing nothing but screwing him. I don't know. I'm so happy that Giannis got a ring, because at the very least, he can be in, like, really big conversations, and no one can say, oh, but he doesn't have a ring, like the ring culture guys always do. So at least there's that. But, like, he deserves more than one ring, if we're being so honest. Like, he definitely deserves more
You
than
remember
one
when
ring.
they drafted Jabari Parker to be the two-headed monster with Giannis, thinking that was going to work?
I do.
Well,
Yes, I do.
Speaking of torn ACLs, because like we didn't talk about it that much when it happened. Jimmy Butler out for the season with a torn ACL, and same kind of situation, right? With Giannis in the Bucks, and Gunnar, I'll start with you with this because we talked
Also,
about like
not in attendance of the Derrick Rose retirement jersey ceremony, which is insane to me.
I agree, but it probably would have looked awkward with the situation. But I do agree. I think that was kind of bad. With the conversations now being put around Steph, where the organization hasn't helped him. Mike Dunleavy is a basketball terrorist because he can't compose a roster and all this kind of stuff. Rumblings have been out there on both Twitter and our platforms here on TikTok that Steph should get traded. And that to me is absurd because it's like when we talk about like lifers for our organization come very rare nowadays. So when we have these all-time talks and people say, well, like, he never left the team, that doesn't mean necessarily shit. But, like, I do get the aspect that, okay, you know, he was a lifer for the team, so he's loyal. But, again, it's overrated because we just talked about the Giannis stuff and the organization hasn't done great. With the Warriors, they did try to do something, right? Even though it's an aging Jimmy Butler and the contract isn't great, 60 M's for that. That's absurd. With the Warriors now, basically on a downtrend. Like, I know they won 2 of their last 3, and like obviously it looks a little bit better. But we all know Jimmy Butler's value there, being an offensive hub, so Steph can look better than he is. What does Steph do now? Because now that Jimmy's out for basically the next year, and they immediately this is what I find so disgusting about Mike Dunleavy is that as soon as Jimmy Butler got hurt, within hours of him getting hurt, notification on my phone, Jimmy Butler is now on the trade block. So you're going to go and trade somebody who literally just tore his ACL to go and get somebody. That's just absurd. So when we're talking about like Jimmy Butler having these outbursts, he deserves to have any outbursts against Mike Dunleavy and the Warriors. But rolling it back, the question is, what happens with Steph? What's the situation there? Does he stay? Does he go? How do you feel, Gunnar?
I think he stays. Like we were saying earlier, what he means to this franchise, and he's been there for, 16, 17 years? Or almost 18 now, right?
Yep.
It's like, at this point, we know he's towards the end of his career. He's got a little left in the tank. The question to me really is, do the Warriors go out and make a move instead and go get a guy like Trey Murphy from the Pelicans at this deadline as it's rapidly approaching? Do they just is it the downfall of the franchise of the Warriors as we speak? Which I lean towards it. We're seeing the end of the Warriors for the next few years.
They'll be bad for 7 years, and they'll be right back at the top like another great known franchise, unfortunately.
I disagree. I'm not high on Mike Dunleavy as this GM myself. So I
think it depends on what draft pick they get, because this draft class this year might be one of the greatest draft classes.
That's for sure.
That's something that I wanted to lean into you, Retro, because obviously you watch a little bit more college than all 3 of us do, and so you've been watching a little bit more than us. They're in a predicament where maybe they fall outside the play-in, which I think that they do, but there's still a realistic chance that they're probably a 10 seed. And that's still to where you're not a lottery team. You're at worst 11 or 12, so they're not getting a good top talent specifically within this set draft class. So like they're kind of in purgatory. And and I guess to extend the question, if they're not a lottery team, we've been hearing about this Kuminga trade shit for 4 years, and they're finally starting to, like, there's still rumblings. It seems like they're going to push themselves to finally move Kuminga. So, like, is Kuminga going to get moved instead of Steph? Does Steph get moved? And should they just go full on tank and pull Steph and just try to get one of the guys in the lottery?
Well, so okay, here's the thing. Steph's not going to leave. It's impossible. The reason is because Steph is a lifer. And there's no way they trade him. I actually think if they did, it would actually be a service to Steph. I actually think they should, for him specifically. But they won't. And which is fine. I get it. He's your lifer guy. The thing about this draft class is that I think it's going to bail out a lot of teams because there is going to be a team that has a pick between 20 and 30 that gets like a star. Like, it's going to happen. This draft class is so absolutely loaded across the board. I don't know if I've ever seen a better freshman class. It's stupid this year. You've got senior guys that have been throughout the transfer portal that this year have now come to life. You got guys like the Axel Wendelborg, who look like it probably won't even be a top 15 pick, might actually fall to the Warriors, and he's been fantastic. I actually think the Warriors are very, very lucky because even in a year where they might just barely make the play-in, they still might get a good pick out of it. But here's the thing, like, I don't think Steph is leaving. I think your best course of action is to try to tank as much as you can, just so that, you can get a higher up draft pick, try to get one of the really, really good superstars. But, like, I think the Warriors have a little bit of padding. Because of the class. What I would do if I was them is as much scouting as humanly possible. I don't think I would try to move anything unless, like, I don't know. I guess you could move Kuminga if you wanted to. I'm a little bit higher on Kuminga than you guys are, I think. I think he's actually pretty solid. I just don't know if he'll develop in Golden State.
Before you go on, Retro, I want to put this on right. I like Kuminga a lot. Mm-hmm. It's to, I guess, form this into another question before we get to Justin. You're talking about the draft class, and cool, that's completely fine. You can make the easy argument outside of Jordan Poole, Steve Kerr, and that development and the scouting in Golden State hasn't done shit with any of their draft picks. So is that a concern for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a good point. Like the biggest thing about the Warriors is, I think, with this draft, there's a couple guys here that are already pro ready. Like, if you just throw them into the league, they'll be fine. They don't really need to develop that much. I would really try to focus on one of these guys. Like the guy that I said, for example, Yaxel Lendeborg has been mocked by some people to go to the Warriors. He's a guy that was at UAB, now he's at Michigan. He's been in basketball, I think, for 3 or 4 years. Come this year, he's been developing, he's been producing. Now he's at a Big Ten level, one of the best teams in the country, still producing. A guy like that would be very nice as like a piece that you could use, like instantly coming out. And that's something that you want to do. If I was the Warriors, I'd go for one of those pro ready guys, and that's why I say, like, maybe try to tank. Like honestly, it's probably the best idea. If you know you can't develop, don't take a project guy. Don't take a young guy. Take a person has like the ability to play already.
That's good. I'm with that. Justin, how do you feel with the whole Warriors, Steph, and Kuminga situation?
Well, I'll start with this. I don't think Dunleavy is solely responsible for everything that's gone wrong in the Warriors franchise. He's not great at his job, 100%. So, let's promote him and see if he does better. LOL.
Yeah, true.
No. You say that Mike Dunleavy's done this, Mike Dunleavy's done that, and things have gone wrong. The Warriors' future went out the window when Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole. Yep. There's been a downward spiral for this team ever since that moment has happened. Whether they've made the playoffs or not, this team isn't going anywhere. I've heard a lot of people talk about the whole Jimmy Butler thing and say that Jimmy's been mid since he's got to Golden State, which for those on TikTok that have said this that might actually tune into this podcast, and I really hope we can get this clip. You're all fucking idiots. Jimmy Butler revitalized this team. If you go back and you look at what the Warriors were doing before Jimmy got there, this team was probably one of the most mediocre teams in basketball via their star power and their name aspect and their ability on floor. Jimmy Butler revitalized Steph's career. Steph hasn't been able to play as freely as he has since they had their big three of him, Clay, and KD. So I don't really know where that comes from. As far as what the Warriors should do, I don't think they're going to move on from Steph. And crazy enough, I also think they're not going to move on from Kuminga because for some reason, Steve Kerr doesn't like him. But at the same time, I feel like this is a spite hold, as in this kid might actually come back and do something crazy against us or go out and do something that makes us look stupid. So I don't think they're going to trade him for value at all. I think Golden State thinks they're comfortable, which is just simply not true. They're not going to get a good draft pick. Jules is right. They're going to get into a situation where they have to trade up for a draft pick. They don't look to the future. They are not a future-looking team. They are still living off the highs of the late 2010s. This is the most confusingly well-run franchise I've seen in a long time.
I was going to say real quick, because I just kind of want to pose a question, because I'm curious. At what point do we look to Kerr? Like, at what point are we like, listen, congratulations, you won a chip with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, and then you won a chip with those guys and KD. Congratulations. You won quite a few with, like, some of the greatest players we've ever seen. But since then, what have you done?
I have an answer for you. When do they look to Kerr to realize that he's part of the problem? That's the easiest answer ever. The 25-game mark, the season after Curry retires. Because that is when they will realize that Steve Kerr is a fucking fraud and a terrible coach, that he's been bailed out by generational teams and talent. There's no way, no how that people don't understand that he is a majority of the problem. If they cleaned house after the season and came back with the same team next year, it'd be a completely different story.
Yep.
It's for like, because I do want to answer this. I think Kerr, as a coach, as an imaginative mind, is one of the all-time great minds in basketball history. Because when we talk about like the evaluation of actual talent and implementing systems, he's all-time great. And that, like, we can equate, that first ring in 2015 to Mark Jackson. Absolutely, and I understand that. But the implication of what I know, Justin, you hate the arguments that Sir Isaac Newton's law being so important in these arguments with Steph, that Steve absolutely put that in place. And to be honest with you, he didn't even put that place on the Warriors. He put that on your Suns in the mid 2000s with Nash and Quentin and Joe Johnson and those cats. So like he was doing this well before the Warriors. Steve gets one second when he.
Yeah, no, Joe, sorry. I'm just going to say real quick, just to clarify, just to clarify for people that are watching that don't know, when he says that, he's referring to Steph's gravity and how everybody uses it as, like, an excuse for that.
The arguments.
Yes.
Yes. Just for Steve as a coach, I agree. I do think that he is vastly overrated because he doesn't develop the guys that he should, and you can even mark that when he was drafting subs talent in Phoenix. But he can implement a system, and that's why I kind of asked, should Steph get traded? Because the only other system he was really part of was Mark Jackson, and Mark was using him as a traditional point guard, high pick and rolls, giving it short roll situations with David Lee back in 2010, 2011, and that kind of stuff. So he hasn't been in these other systems where he's been utilized. So if he were to leave, I don't think he'd be able to be as impactful as that might be a hot take, but yes, he is the greatest 3-point shooter of all time, but he wouldn't have the subsection of all the other personnels and he would have to run a completely different system. Maybe he's portable just because of his 3-point shooting, but that doesn't necessarily equate to fitting to a system with said personnel, because Draymond Green very uniquely styled to uplift Steph Curry. Jimmy Butler has a very unique style to uplift Steph Curry. Like even to an extent, maybe even Klay Thompson, you can argue is a top 5 shooter ever. He's uniquely because of all the off-ball stuff. So I'm in agreement that Steph shouldn't be moved, but there's a lot of different fingers you can point on. Justin, I agree. Kerr, Draymond, Mike Dunleavy, maybe even Steph himself to an extent, because of the amount of minutes that he allots. He's not able to have like a Brandon Brzezinski be playing a whole bunch of minutes, or a Kuminga be playing a whole bunch of minutes, and so on. So there's a lot of different blame where you can kind of cut down and say, it's just depending on the value of where you want to, put the blame at most.
You said a lot of good things in there, but there's one thing that I'm not going to get past, and I'm just not going to let you have, and that's to say that Steph Curry wouldn't fit in other systems. Steph Curry's ability to move off ball is elite, to say the least, and his ability to free himself and create his own shot is the reason that Steph gets put in the conversations that he has. If you let somebody else bring the ball up the floor and Steph Curry gets to run around through a defense and gets to work his way open like Ray Allen did when Ray Allen transitioned from a slasher to a shooter, you could see a whole nother Steph Curry untapped potential even at 37 years of age in year 17. So to say that he couldn't fit in any system, I just strictly don't believe it. Maybe not in a system that's a complete transition team, but even then, can you imagine a transition team that's able to outrun a team? A guy gets back and you're able to hit a fucking floating Steph Curry coming across half late to shoot the ball after the defense over pursues.
Just to be clear, not in the sense of not being able to be portable, of course, when you have these off-ball motions and all this kind of stuff, but where we've seen him being this motion triangle offense for 10 plus years, and he hasn't ran anything outside of that since 2014. I'm more in the sense of now it's a freedom of ball movement and positional basketball. You can easily make that argument. I just mean in a set, organized system where, okay, in the half court, you don't have a Draymond Green facilitating and initiating the ball, or Jimmy Butler in a sense like that, because they have the said skill sets to make Steph Curry so great at age 37.
Yeah, but
those unique skill sets are just...
team. Steph's a good enough basketball mind to figure it out. I mean,
and
his coach is literally the Greg Popoviches of Darvin Hams. So, it doesn't really matter what you say about the whole system thing that's getting put in. Steph Curry could go into any system, and he would immediately absorb into that system, learn to play their game, while still being able to play the motion triangle offense. Even if that wasn't their system, there's still things. Steph would be able to free himself, I think, more in certain situations on different teams in this league.
Well, and as far as it's concerned, maybe it's not about systems, maybe it's about era. As good friend of the show, Hoops History, said, if Steph Curry played in the 90s, he would be Tim Legler with a green light. So, maybe it's more about eras.
That's fair. I guess the next thing in retro, I know you're gonna love this. Again, it seems like I'm just framing this shit for retro, so retro might need to thank me off screen a little bit later. So said title favorites lost against their finals opponent this past week in Indiana. And we all know, Indiana is a really good team this year. I've been very high on, P4's cousin. Shout out P4. You need to do better in fantasy, you fuck, Andrew Nimhard. Anyways, my thing has been, because we had this discussion, and I ended up being wrong. I was saying they were capable of getting to around that mark. Obviously, when you're losing against the Indiana Pacers, that's not a good look. But they're still a good enough team to be okay, they could probably get 65 wins and maybe not even that. They might be barely a 60-win team. So again, I think you switched your pick, but I know I want to let you have the floor for this SGA OKC argument. Why OKC is now hitting its kind of a hard wall, because it looks completely different with Hartenstein off the floor. We've talked about that before. Now, more importantly, J-Dub just got hurt for a significant amount of time yet again. So is OKC back in the what are we going to look like in 2 months' time once J-Dub comes back? Like, how do you feel about OKC this year, Rachel?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I said it before. I think this year's Thunder team is worse than last year's. I got a lot of flack for it at the time, but I think it's very, very true, especially as we've seen throughout this year. I will, however, as I rarely do because I hate the conversation around him, give credit where credit is due. Shea is absolutely phenomenal. And actually, more than phenomenal, he needs way more credit for carrying this team. And I say that because it seems like when you don't have Hartenstein on the court and you don't have that like defensive like anchor presence, Shea is just like the person. Like he's able to, for the most part, carry that load. Even against the Pacers, like it was a very, very close game. Shea just has the ability to put up 40 or 50 any given night at any point in time. And obviously, I'm known as a person that talks badly about Shea. It's not that Shea that I don't like, it's the conversations around Shea. I think Shea himself is extremely fun to watch. I think he has a very slippery layup package. I love players
Jules,
that have
you
the
got some
ability
crazy
to get to the
background
rack.
noise right now.
So for me, it's like I think that Shea is phenomenal, but I think that this Thunder team, I just don't know if I trust it as much as last year's. I don't think I do. I did switch my pick. I had it as the Thunder. I think the Nuggets can deal with the Thunder pretty comfortably as soon as Jokic comes back, as long as he still looks the same healthy, which I think he should. I don't know. I don't really trust the Thunder. I've been having reservations about them the whole year. Jules, like you said, when we had this conversation the first time, I said I don't think they have the potential to do that. Even with a fully healthy Thunder team, I don't think so. For whatever reason, this team just I don't think is as good. But I still think they're phenomenal. I still think that they easily could make the finals. I still think they could easily win. I just think that the Nuggets are probably a better team with Jokic on the court. And I think Jokic is probably the best carry in the league as well. So, but that being said, it seems this year that the Nuggets supporting cast is better than the Thunder supporting cast. Almost demonstrably so, because whenever the Thunder supporting casts are like, whenever you got like one or two guys that are out, they kind of just crumble and it's like, Shea, I need you to do everything. But Jokic went out and this Nuggets team is still performing. Jamal Murray's able to kind of step up and do what he needs to do. And they're not great, but they're pretty solid. So for me, it's like, I think Shea does deserve tons of credit here.
Justin, I see you shaking your head.
I don't understand this. I don't understand the logic behind almost anything you just said. I really don't. There is no difference in this team from this year to last year. There is no difference. No, there's not. This is the exact same fucking team.
That doesn't matter. It's a difference in play, not a difference in.
They're not playing differently, but they're not playing differently. This is exactly how they got to a finals last year. On Shea's back. Inconsistencies happened. Injuries happened. All of these things happened last year. This literally, as a fan, is a deja vu season for the fucking Thunder. They got here on Shea's back last year. I think everyone wants to overvalue and overcredit this team because they won the finals. This is the exact same way that they played last year, and they still went out and won the chip. Shea was the only constant last year. His role players were hurt or badly inconsistent.
No, but that's relevant to the point. Last year's supporting cast clearly played better than this year's Thunder supporting cast.
They're almost yes. It's not the same. Chet was injured the whole year, came back and balled out. Chet played well and then got dicked on by Wemby, and now he's playing softer. So you could say his performance has declined a little bit. Great. J-Dub played great last year, then went super inconsistent. Lou Dort played great last year, then went really inconsistent, and then all picked it up. There is no difference in this team from this year to last year, except they started hotter this year. And everyone was riding that high because they came off the finals, and then they were going into a generational run. The Thunder are the exact same team they were last year. The only difference is people don't want to see it because they've now taken them from, oh, they've gotten better every year. Now we're to a point where they are still the pinnacle of the league. They've just hit a little bit of a decline because of things going wrong. This is the same team as last year. I don't know if they can make the same run they did last year and go win the finals. They're still my pick to do it. But you can't tell me that this is not the same as last year because it was injuries, inconsistency. The only consistent in this team, and it has been now for 15 months, is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, you can't tell me any differently.
It's not about the players. It's about the play. A team can have
the That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's the players. I'm saying the players' play is the same. Lou Dort played great. Looked like a phenomenal two-way player. Then he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. J-Dub looked like the fucking co-MVP of the finals, but he played inconsistent before that until they got there, and now he's doing the same thing, and now he's injured. It's not the players. It's the play is exactly the same. There has been no growth in the Oklahoma camp in the last 2 years. That's what I'm trying to get That's what I'm trying to get across here. The players are still doing the same stupid, inconsistent things that are hurting the team. And Shai is still going out there and getting buckets and soloing them to games. So yes, the Hartenstein thing right now hurts the team. It's a role player.
When you have no growth for a specific amount of time, there is one thing that happens: regression. When you have no growth and a thing stays stagnant, eventually it's going to regress. These players are not playing as well as they did last year, and that is why we are at the point where we're at now. Eventually, if you don't grow, you will regress. That's how it works. So as far as this is concerned to me, I'm not saying that this is like a completely different Thunder team. Again, like I said, I think they can go make the finals and go win a chip. But I do think they are playing demonstrably worse. Whether or not you think that that they can get it together or not is not the point I'm trying to make. I just think it's very important to understand that they are playing worse. I just think that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, no, I'm because when we were having this discussion, specifically between you and I and Gunnar, I'll get to you in a second, why I was so heavy about the Nuggets specifically winning is because of what you just said. The role players in Denver has been playing better than the role players in OKC. And when we talk about the MVP said argument for last year, that is what a lot of Jokic fans, not saying you specifically, but that's what it leans towards. Is that Jokic had better numbers when he was on the court, and then when he was off the court, it was all-time bad. While Shai had the defense and the offense that was a lot more consistent in said play in the regular season to say, okay, Jokic deserved MVP over SGA. Now, it's completely the opposite because that organization in Denver specifically got a whole bunch of guys so that when Jokic is off the court and this something freakishly happens when he gets hurt, they're not being 2-10. They're 8-6, and that's completely different to when last year when Jokic was off the court and they had a 15-point lead. When he comes back in, they're at a -4. That's insane.
And I think that this year, and we all already know that Jokic is an all-time great. Everybody's aware of this, right? But with Shai, I think this season is showing the difference between a great player now and an all-time great player. Shai is an all-time player. I'm not saying he's super high all-time right now because I know it's only been a few years. But 4 or 5 years down the line, he's going to be in those conversations. And the reason is because of this. This guy can backpack you any given night. It is very, very possible. He's one of the most prolific scorers we've seen in a long time. He has the ability to do all this, despite what haters will say. The guy doesn't need free throws. He doesn't have to have free throws in order for him to perform. He can perform with or without them. It doesn't matter. So this season, I think, and obviously he'll win MVP because, Jokic is probably not going to get it due to the games missed. But this season kind of, to me, is the season where he stepped up from okay, you're top 2 in the league right now to you are going to be an all-time talks, in the next few years.
Gunnar, what do you think about the OKC and Shea conversation?
So it's interesting to me. I agree with Retro in a way about the regression, but at the same time I'm seeing players on OKC able to step up. In a guy like Cason Wallace, in a guy like AJ Mitchell. They've both been great this year. Sure, some mishaps at times, but like when you're watching them, they've been phenomenal role players for that team. Um Shea's been doing fucking amazing this year.
Mhm.
We were having these all-time talks with Shea this offseason and where this ranks as a point guard season all time. This season's better than last season's
Yes.
as a point guard season. His ability to play make this year has been phenomenal. I'd say in a way I wouldn't say it's a backpack, because Chet's been able to be a great defender for them, and is in the depoy conversation for a reason. Where I'm struggling with this OKC team is Jalen Williams. He should have been back to what he was by now, I want to say, with his play style. It's been a month and a half, almost 2 months now, with Jalen Williams being back from injury, and he's had flashes of what he was last year, and now it's like he's not back to where he was still. He's just had the flashes. It's what I don't like about OKC and their fans at the moment is they're starting to turn their backs on J-Dub a little bit. And as a Celtics fan, I'm scared of that's what we're going to do with Tatum. I know it's two different sides of stories because Tatum's can be a top 5 player in the league when healthy, but I don't want any of those conversations because if J-Dub gets back to where he was, this team's going to look phenomenal. That's where I'm at.
And to kind of double down on that, I would say there is a sublotted amount of games while J-Dub was healthy this year that he looked like his older self or his younger self from last year specifically, because he's similar to SGA to where he's heavily predicated on these mid-range shots. And when he was when he just came back, he was getting to his spots, but those shots weren't falling. But there was like 5 or 6 games where he just had, for his standards, really, really good games. Just 20 to 25 points on good efficiency, still giving you really good defense and so on and so forth. And then he gets hurt. And now that OKC's in this predicament where they just paid him, now the fans are saying, well, we're winning all these games without you. How valuable are you? These were the kind of the talks that I was talking about at the beginning of the season, where I said this, and I've been on record saying this, is that OKC, it was going to turn their backs on J-Dub and disingenuously look at this conversation as, we can just go and move that contract because we got a whole plethora of draft picks, so we can just replace him. And that's a good problem to have. But now, if you're going to trade somebody who's going to be worth 50 M's, who's taking 50 M's in today's NBA? I don't know. That's the hard part.
The thing is, it's like, I kind of, the worst part is, and I don't want them to trade J-Dub because it would feel so scummy. But the worst part is I can even see the logic in it, because if you're the Thunder, you have a treasure trove of picks. You know what other picks you could add with a J-Dub trade? Like, if there was a team that was genuinely down to do it, you could get a first. And in this draft, you don't even need a high first. If you could just get like an okay pick in this draft, again, it's just another thing to add to your arsenal. Like I said, this draft is loaded. Any team that has tons of picks in this is going to do well. So if I'm the Thunder, I can even see the logic in it. Like, it's not crazy to me. I just hope they don't do it because I would feel so bad for him. But you know how sports fans are, man. It's fickle. It's a fickle league.
Right. It's fickle. I will say, like, there's been no trade talks for them legitimately to move on for J-Dub, because I believe this is the first year that extension kicked in. But in the ongoing years, if he is getting hurt and they are winning without him, because we were doing the same thing with John Morant as soon as he got paid with Memphis, and they started winning without him. That now he's basically in talks for this trade deadline of who's going to trade for Ja, and him then rescinding his trade. So there's a whole bunch of drama, unnecessarily drama, for a young team that has a bright future, and now the fans are like going against a really good guy. Like it's like you said, it's fickle. It's kind of nasty. I guess the last thing before we do go on to our stuff from Justin is something I wanted to talk about for some of the lower end teams, like the guys who are looking in, because we talked about this kind of recently. The Charlotte Hornets, again, putting up all-time great offense, basically, scoring 120 to 150 points a game against these like really good teams. That's super surprising. A whole bunch of basically they just need more consistency, because they either score 97 points, but they can peak at 150. Like, that's the most dynamic offense I've seen in the NBA in a long time, with a whole bunch of guys. And I'm in agreement. Miles Bridges is probably the most valuable guy on that team. So for them, I think that they would be probably making a play-in, but maybe not unfortunately for me, but for the league, the Clippers are now officially a play-in team. And now that the Warriors basically on a downtrend, they're still looking up. Tyronn Lue came out saying that we just basically need to go 35-20, and they're still on that pace to be a legitimate playoff team. So do we think that the Hornets can be a play-in team, and do we think the Clippers can be a playoff team? Justin, I'll start with you.
The Hornets, I mean, nothing's showing me that they can't, and I mean, like you said, I still believe that Miles Bridges is 100% is the catalyst behind this team, regardless of what people want to say about, oh, he's not the best player. I never said he was the best player. I said he was the most valuable player on the team. And when I say that, when I get challenged, why? Well, it's his two-way ability, his veteran leadership, his ability to put the ball through the basket. Everyone wants to say, oh, well, he's been dog shit recently. Great, cool. He's had a really rough 3 weeks. More power to him. Go back and look at what happened before the last 3 weeks. Go look at what he's been doing. He's probably been the player that's most conducive to winning on their team. Yes, Knipple has emerged as a rookie phenom, and he should win Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, the way this is all heading. But there's just no way you can tell me that LaMelo is the most valuable player to this team. There's no way you can tell me Knipple is the most valuable player to this team. He's been with the team for 4 months. So I don't understand why people don't want to believe that this is, regardless of LaMelo being the quote-unquote best player and Khan being, I think, the leading scorer right now, that you can't tell me what Miles Bridges' impact is, where this team would be in the exact same spot it is. Moving to the other side of it, the Clippers. Boy, we all ate some humble pie on this one. We talked so much shit about Unkball, and we said that this team would go absolutely nowhere, that they should trade James Harden, that they should this, they should that. I still think they suck. I want to be clear. Every player on this team sucks, except for Kawhi Leonard. Like, this is just, I mean, Harden started the year really well, but like, numbers are dwindling. His effort seems like we're looking like we're getting fat Harden from Philly again. But Kawhi is just, he's built different, man. He's not built to lose. I mean, he just, I don't know what you want me to say.
That's what.
Yes, he's not built to lose, and he has no knees, and he's still top 10.
I'm not going to shit on Kawhi. I'd actually, relative to what people think, I actually do enjoy Kawhi Leonard. I think he's probably one of one of the best, if not the greatest, two-way player to ever play the game. And it's hard to watch the end of his career declining the way it has, playing with some of these certified dog shit players and being on dog shit rosters and playing for a dog shit coach. And he still has to go out here and do it all himself. And he's showing that he can. Imagine if this motherfucker had two good knees. Imagine if this man had good coaching. Imagine if he had good players around him. Imagine if Kawhi Leonard just, imagine if Zaza Pachulia just never existed, Like, that would have been, like, something. I mean, we talk about LeBron as the face of the league for as long as he has been, but, like, Kawhi doesn't get hurt with his impact and ability. If Zaza never undercuts him, I mean, I think we have a different landscape and a different molding for the last 10 years than what we have.
Gunnar, how do you feel about the Hornets and the Clippers?
I want to start off with the Clippers. I got clowned on by some people earlier in the season for having them as a play-in team. At the same time, there were a lot of people that were high, there were a lot of people that were low. I had them as the 9 seed, and I had them as an 8 seed in the playoffs, being able to win the play-in, be in the play-in, and win to be an 8 seed. Harden's not a full-on loser. We see this every year. He has not missed the playoffs once in his career. Why would it be now? Kawhi? Arguably top 10. I would say he is. At the moment, directly at 10 though.
He's a bum.
But I just was like, this is the time. The Clippers are this. Sure, it's the unction, but I still think they're still in the playoff hunt. And so far, it was looking bad at the beginning. Thought I couldn't have an original take. It's aging pretty well right now.
No, fuck that, Gunnar. Original takes always land if you know what you're talking about. There was like I said, think about it, Gunnar. There was a time almost 19 weeks ago that somebody threw some absolute bullshit at the wall, and everyone thought it was bullshit. And some guy from some other team came and led a team that was sub mediocre to a playoff win. So, as long as you follow the mantra "good, better, best," you'll always be great.
For the Hornets,
holy glaze.
For the Hornets, I was low on them heading into the season. I had them as the 13th seed. I didn't think they could be a play-in team. With the emergence of a Colin Knippel as this rookie being able to do what he's doing, what Miles Bridges is doing for them, LaMelo Ball being able to play off ball, I think they have a chance to be that 10 seed. I don't think they get it. I think they are the 11 or 12 seed, but at this rate. But at the same time, the 10 seed isn't out of question for them at this rate in the East. They only got the Hawks ahead of them at the moment, really, and the
Bucks.
Yeah, and the Bucks are going to fall.
I think looking at the teams in front of them, they can easily be an 8 seed. Orlando's been fraudulent.
Honestly,
Orlando's been fraudulent. The Chicago Bulls have finally realized that, hey, the season's not only 5 games long, so they decided to start winning again. They're not going to continue this. They're going to fall down the list.
We lost tonight. We're going on a 5-game loss streak.
Probably. At least you're understanding. You have to get back below 500 before you understand winning again. Atlanta's not going to hang around. Milwaukee sure as hell ain't going to hang around. They can jump all of those teams. I honestly think they're going to be an 8 seed just because Orlando is just crumbling. They hit a peak and they just continue to crumble. So I just don't. I can see them actually being the only team out of like the bottom, I guess, from the 8 seed down. Look at all those teams and tell me you don't see them being the best of those teams.
Retro, before you go, I just find it really funny how Retro, you shit on him being a Steelers fan, being 500, and then he shits on you for being a Bulls fan for being 500. So the
Being
world
below
goes round in
500
funny
is
ways.
different. No. Below 500 and above 500 are two different things.
But we're neither. We are the perfect equality of balance. We are 23 and 23, the beautiful 500.
So you're
go
just
ahead.
mid.
Got it.
Yeah,
Dog shit breeds dog shit. I understand.
as far as this is concerned, so I'll go ahead and start with the Hornets. Self glaze aside, give Justin credit. He definitely does know a lot of basketball because it would be a crazy take, right? A lot of people see LaMelo as the face, and he is still the face of the team. But I hate doing PRA stuff. But the only reason why I was a huge LaMelo defender is because of his scoring output. Because LaMelo, it was
I wish
able to
LaMelo was a huge
scoring.
defender.
Now here,
Well,
yeah.
got
But
a narrative
here's
about that. We'll say. Go ahead.
so LaMelo Ball scoring typically is fine, right? Last year he puts up 25 a game, 24 a game, 23 a game year by year, right? This year he's putting up 19 a game, and that is a problem because his volume is very similar. I don't like that. That's not a good sign. LaMelo's big thing is being able to put up points. That's what LaMelo always was able to do. That's why people defend. That's why I defended him. Clearly, he is no longer the most valuable player on the team. That being said, he is still the face of the team. And the reason why is because you can see in the offense. Jules, you mentioned they're extraordinarily dynamic, right? They can go from 90 to 150. You know why? Because that's the way LaMelo's been playing basketball since high school. That is his entire philosophy. We're going to be as dynamic as humanly possible, and we're either going to suck or we're going to put 150 on your head. And that's how you know LaMelo was still like the engine, because he's the guy that like everybody looks at. But I agree, he's low-key not been the most valuable player. As far as their team, though, yeah, I think they can be a playoff contender. What they did to the Thunder alone makes me think they can be pretty decent. Like, I feel like if they could just put it all together and make that that offense that they can have, if they make that consistently, they're going to be fine. And I think they can do pretty decent. I think they could probably be all right. As far as the Clippers are concerned, very much rooting for the Clippers just because I find it really funny that like their whole team is really just a bunch of old guys that still enjoy the game. You know, they're just playing for the love of the game. I've also always been a huge fan of Kawhi. I remember when they won, when Kawhi was on his Raptors grind, and he ends up winning that chip, that like everybody was slandering him for the shot that he hit. They were like, "Oh, it's like the luckiest shot in NBA history, and it's going to carry his legacy, and this and that." I was always defending Kawhi. I think Kawhi is so much fun to watch. I love two-way players. Because to me, scoring is fun, but watching a guy that can go score 25 and then also lock down your best player is just super fun. So I'm happy for him. He's doing well. I think this Clippers team, the thing is, yeah, I actually think they probably can be a decent player, like contender in the West. The reason why is because the number one thing that we talk about for teams that have success, very like typically, right, is their age. They're always going to have a couple vets on the team that are able to like, you know, keep everybody grounded. But with the Clippers, everybody's a vet. So there's really no worry about like, you know, playoff ability because no one's going to be scared because they've all done
about that. Nobody on that team's a certified Game 7 choker.
Well, okay, but I'm saying they've all been there at least, right? They've all been there.
Wait.
So for me, it's like I feel like if everybody kind of the nerves won't really be present. I'm thinking so as long as they just like kind of stick to the script, they could be okay. I think they
besides
could do
Kawhi Leonard, they have the most overrated veteran team I've ever seen.
I don't disagree, but I actually think Kawhi might be good enough to kind of just like very quietly push them forward a little bit.
It's not quiet when you're averaging 50 a night for a week.
No, but when I say quiet, it's like no one expects the Clippers to actually make any noise at all. And I think the Clippers actually maybe be able to make it through a first round potentially. Maybe. I don't know, but maybe.
Well, depending on the matchup, like as of right now, if they were either a 7th or an 8th seed, you're playing a combination of OKC, San Antonio, Denver. Do you think that they make it out of? I don't.
Well, okay.
Personally.
That's actually a good point. I'll rephrase. Maybe they could make it through more than 4 games. Like maybe they could push them to like 5.
Fair.
Yeah,
And
plus you're like 5 or 6.
that's fair. And Justin, I just want you to know the Lomelo defender stuff. You're absolutely right. He's dog shit. But what if, just saying, what if I told you he specifically shut down said top 10 point or top 10 player, top 3 point guard in the East to 2 of 13 shooting, making him score, I believe, 7 points for a full game today. How would you feel about that?
I'd say he had some really good help side defense.
That's crazy. Anyways,
I think he had some
Justin,
really good help side defense.
if I know you had some stuff store for us, what do you got for us?
Before we go to that, I want to talk about, we didn't even touch on this yet. Can we talk about the biggest news story in the NBA this week? Can we talk about the Genie Bust press release?
Oh, well, to be honest with you, I didn't think that you guys wanted to talk about that because I know you guys probably shit on
anytime that I can talk about Leif Fraud being exactly what he is, I'm all in to talk about it. We can talk about how front office people...
LeBron?
No, we're not defending. We want to talk about LaFraud being exactly who he is.
Amen.
We want to talk about... If anyone that doesn't know this, Genie Bust came out with 3 big points of talking, and I'll read them and then we can break them down. The first one, Genie Bust felt LeBron wasn't grateful enough for Lakers drafting Bronny, meaning that they weren't going to take him, but they did it as a service to him. One.
Of course.
The second one, Bust privately grumbled about LeBron's outsized ego and Clutch's overt control. Yeah. The third one, his lack of accountability. Bust felt LeBron would shift blame to others after the Westbrook trade didn't work out. So, weird. Now, currently, recently discovered, known basketball terrorist LeBron James. Again, I've said this since last season. Please retire. You're hurting Luka's legacy at this point. I'm over it. I mean, you're not the GM. You're not the head coach. You are a top 2 player in the NBA of all time. That does not give you credit or give you the ability to make roster moves, to tell people how they're doing. Nothing. You are supposed to be a leader and
Justin,
a veteran.
real quick, just to add to that, you're not even the star player on your team anymore. You're not even the best guy on your team. You don't even have that anymore. Like, you need to just... what you need to do is go quietly into that good night, okay? You had a great
It's
career.
crazy to think that the second best player of all time is now a third option on a team.
Is now a third option. Yeah, no, this is... Bro, for real quick, everything I'm about to say is all a joke. Clutch Entertainment, do not send anybody after me, please. I beg. It's all jokes. I love Lapuki Bear. That being said, that brother needs to be ego checked. LeBron has needed to be ego checked for so long. He never will be because he's LeBron. That guy has such a massive ego. He goes to whatever team he wants. He becomes the GM of the team, basically. Tries to pick up whoever he wants, trade whoever he wants. Bronny never was going to be a draft pick. He was never ready to go to the NBA. He should have stayed another year in college, and regardless, the Lakers picked him anyway just to appease LeBron. Everybody knows his ego is huge. The only people that really say that they want to play with LeBron haven't played with LeBron. Like, I feel like it's just one of these things where it's like, I think that it's so obvious he's got one of the highest egos we've ever seen in sports. He's very fragile. His mental is easily broken. I just think the guy is a cancer at this point. And the thing is,
former Stephen A. stan, I'm taking his side in this as a father argument now because this is insane to me. This is just unbelievable.
Just to kind of finish my point on this, my biggest thing is LeBron. If after all this time, like in all of the teams you've been to and all of the things you've done, if you can't at least this point just see that you are the problem in the Lakers locker room, there's like a serious issue going on. You have to have like a little bit of like a little bit of self-awareness and understanding where you are on the team to know that the ownership doesn't like you anymore. You're impeding the way that Luka and AR are trying to go. You're impeding in that just by being there. You need to be done. You need to retire. The Lakers will probably retire your jersey just because you're LeBron, and then it'll be done. Okay, like it's done. It needs to be finished. I'm so done with this like egotist trying to. I don't know. I'm just done with him.
And still, my biggest gripe with LeBron James is that he leaves Savannah at home alone.
That's crazy. Gunnar, you go before I go because I got some tangents to go off of.
We're taking the words of a Nepo baby herself, because she's egotistic as can be too.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Because, like, sure, I understand. You can complain about LeBron, and sure, he's the GM and all that, which
Yes.
he has a focal point in making moves, sure, but he doesn't have as much responsibility now in it, I would say. The last time would probably be the Luka trade, but even then, I don't think it was even on him making the trade. That was all Rob Pelinka, I want to say.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think that was. I think that was a league thing. I think that was the league.
Exactly.
I understand, Gunnar. I get you're not taking the word of a Nepo baby thing, but again, we know how I judge the game, and we do it off eye test. This all tracks.
I was gonna say, yeah.
This wholeheartedly tracks. This man, Jules talked about it earlier with Giannis. LeBron is the most disengaged player. He's not helping anyone develop, and it's clear to see with what the fuck they have as role players. Like, this is... I understand she's a Nepo baby and she's egotistical as well, but, like, hearing somebody in their, like, ability, like, in their position say something about him like this all literally puts the puzzle pieces together. He's disengaged. This man... Earlier this year, his team called a timeout, and he's standing bullshitting by the other team's bench.
Well, real quick, as far as you saying it tracks, we know LeBron as a superstar and the ego that he has. He's had it throughout his whole career. But of course he has. The guy has been seen as the next big superstar in the NBA since he was in middle school. Of course he's going to have this kind of ego. The guy was being built up to be the next great star. He's been in the league longer than he was out of the league in his life. Of course he's going to have a massive...
but you got to think at some point when you get older, you got to have some self-awareness and realize... hey, I'm not that person anymore.
I'll be honest, I don't think so. LeBron, it maybe if he didn't go to LA, because now LeBron is in like the capital of ego on the entire planet, Los Angeles. Like,
let Gunnar finish this point other than the Nepo baby stuff, because I still gotta go. So Gunnar, finish what your thought is, and then I'll go.
And I also disagree. Sure, I agree that he's disengaged. I wouldn't say all the time. I think he's disengaged probably like 25-30% of the time. Sure, that's still a good chunk, but like he's still playing at an elite level at this point, especially with Austin Reeves hurt, still being able to be a second option. So I'm fine right now with LeBron. LeBron's doing great for what he's doing. And again, I'm not gonna take Genie Bus full on serious.
I'm in agreement.
Yeah,
I'm in agreement with the Nepo baby stuff for Genie, because really, like, the only point that is, I think, correct that was said was the Russell Westbrook stuff. That is absolutely on LeBron's head top, and the fact of the lack of accountability, as I think the only one out of us four on the panel, as a LeBron is the GOAT guy, he does lack the accountability stuff. I'm seeing it growing older. It's very irritating. So I get why he gets under people's skin. I can absolutely understand that. But with the fact that Jeannie Buss was the president, the governor of the Los Angeles Lakers because of her father, and her having to fight off her two inept brothers to go and get that shows that, okay, I have the responsibility to make the final say in what we were saying. And if she didn't have the balls as the biggest market on the West Coast by far and large in any sport to tell LeBron James no, but Pat Riley could tell him no? What does that
That's
say about
insane.
Jeannie Buss?
That's insane.
That's insane. What does that say about Jeannie Buss? Because every move that she made prior to LeBron getting there was dog shit. LeBron, as soon as he got there, said, yes, we need to trade these young talents and go get Anthony Davis. And if you want to say LeGM, absolutely fine. I get it. You can knock him all you want. But Jeannie wasn't doing that to when Kobe left. She wasn't doing any of this shit. She had she had nothing. She drafted well, but because the Lakers go and buy everybody, she had no direction of anything. So LeBron is more of the fact that why the Lakers is still relevant, because even if you want to give LeBron the benefit of the doubt and say he helped to get Luka, which again I just completely disagree with. I think that was Pelinka. If you want to give LeBron that still sets up the Lakers for their future beyond LeBron James. So why is it that now LeBron is the scapegoat? Because I do agree he is holding them back, but he set them up for 10 plus years. But with Luka being 25, 26, how is that bad for the Lakers? You have a top 5 player minimum in his prime for 10 years, and now you have a direction post me. I don't understand that. I'm in the agreement of the only point that she said that was correct was the lack of accountability of Russ. And that was completely on him, and that was stupid that he scapegoated Russ. And now that I'm not even a Russ fan, but the fact that it was all the shifted blame on him, I do think all the moves after that was not LeBron. I think that was all Pelinka. And we talked about Steve Kerr being a part of it, for the Warriors. If you want to blame LeBron, blame Jeannie Buss as well, because she's not a fucking good owner at all. She hasn't been a good owner for a long time. She's written the tales of Kobe Bryant. She's written the tales of both Pelinka and Mitch Kubiak for fucking years. And the fact that she's in big market. She has done dick. She is literally Jerry Jones of the NBA. But she actually wins because she's a big market. That's been my whole thing with the Jeannie Buss stuff. I living here in LA, I've been so critical of Jeannie, and I've heard a lot of people here in LA be very critical of Jeannie. So if you're gonna dish out all this LeBron disrespect stuff, you've had the power for a long time prior to you stepping down to being the basketball governor of the Lakers to do something about your team, and you didn't fucking do it. So let's have some accountability. If you're going to count LeBron for his shit, account your fucking self, because you weren't doing shit after Kobe either. That's my thing.
Don't forget, they're just getting off Timothy Mozgov's books. Don't forget.
That's solely her
she's
move.
Part of her.
Real quick, because I wanted to say this as well. I 100% agree. I think it is kind of stupid that Jeannie Buss is putting out this statement when Jeannie Buss also sucks. It's kind of like there's this meme on Twitter where it's like heartbreaking. The worst person you know made a good point, and it's like, yeah, literally that. Like yes,
literally that.
LeBron, yeah, yes, LeBron's egotistical, true, and the Westbrook thing was a disaster. Is it also true that Jeannie sucks at her job and is a nepo baby?
Yeah.
Yes. But another thing that I think I think that I kind of want to touch on briefly. Gunnar, you talked about this too. I don't think that LeBron is responsible for the Luka trade.
No.
I think that the Luka trade was a league thing. I think that the commissioner went to the Lakers and the commission was like, listen,
I don't agree with that.
The Lakers need a superstar. This is where I'm at. The Lakers need a superstar. Mavericks, listen, you can have the number 1 overall pick, get you Cooper Flag, in return we get Luka. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I don't think this had to do with anybody. But even if you don't believe that, I don't think LeBron was probably a part of it. I think LeBron, maybe they told him that maybe they didn't, honestly. Because I don't know if LeBron, this is another thing. I don't even know if LeBron would have been comfortable knowing that prior to. Because LeBron, he still was like, this is my team. It's my team. And Luka coming to the team is like, oh, well, I'm not the best on this team anymore. That's kind of weird. And I'm sure LeBron's have had trouble adjusting to that. And now AR is upping his play so much. I'm sure LeBron is having trouble with it.
Yeah.
One thing that that Jeannie said that I think is very, very I think is very important is that it was described that she didn't like that LeBron was considered a savior for a floundering franchise when he arrived in 2018, and that it was he who chose the Lakers rather than the team's leadership receiving praise for landing him. And this is where I'm going to criticize Jeannie Buss. So, Jeannie Buss, here's the thing. You didn't land LeBron James. You're the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron wants to come to you because it's the final step, okay? All the best players want to go to the Lakers to solidify their legacy. That's what it is. You guys didn't land LeBron James, okay? That's not what happened. LeBron saw, oh, hey, the Los Angeles Lakers look pretty cool this time of year, and he went and joined your team. Also, I'm not going to say LeBron is a savior, but he did win your team a chip. He did do that. Something that I don't know that would have happened if he didn't come. Again, I'm not the biggest LeBron guy, but yeah, I'm not the biggest LeBron guy, but like Jeannie, like of all people to release a statement about this, you are probably the worst one. Maybe you should have like let somebody else release it for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, even if you put that on Pelinka's shoulders, right, then that looks a lot better for Jeannie because now it's like it's definitive front management, and Pelinka has been very vocal in the stuff that he has been for the Lakers for years. So if you land it on Pelinka's shoulders, then he's like, okay, LeBron goes to the GM and they go and talk about it, and that's just very stereotypical within the organization.
Well, and I was going to say... Sorry, I was going to say real quick, just to finish my point, and then I'll let you go. My fault.
No, go ahead.
I hate to do this, but I'm going to psychoanalyze a little bit. You know what that statement reads like to me? Projection. She hates the fact LeBron is viewed as the person that saved the Lakers because she wants to be viewed as the person that saved the Lakers.
Yes.
That is why she said this, because she is mad that LeBron came to the Lakers and won the team a chip with an AD trade, and who wanted the AD trade? It was LeBron. He pushed for it. And she hates that fact. She hates the fact he's getting credit for something that he did because she wants all the credit. Because ultimately, and this isn't true for all Nepo babies, okay? But ultimately, Nepo babies want the credit because they feel as if they don't deserve it because they're Nepo babies. And because of that, they look for credit constantly, and this is one of those times. Not to psychoanalyze, but it's so obvious when she says, I don't like that he got the credit when he came and we won us a chip. That credit should have gone to us for landing LeBron. No, it should go to LeBron because LeBron came, won you guys a chip with a trade that he orchestrated. He gets the credit, not you.
Yeah, and again, if Pelinka was the guy that was going to be scapegoated in this, okay, cool, that's fine. Have LeBron and Rich Paul and Clutch Sports go against the GM and have the turmoil, whatever the war can be. Sure. But because it's Jeannie, and because we can look as soon as Jeannie took over, there's been certain spots, right, that the roster was not good. Sub 500, mediocre. And again, as soon as Kobe left, you weren't shit. D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram, young B.I., Julius Randle probably had the best potential in there. You chose, out of all of them, fucking Kyle Kuzma. That is on you. That is on you. You can specifically say, well, LeBron told me to go and trade Julius Randle and Lonzo and Brandon Ingram. Cool. You're still the fucking owner. It's still, everything runs through you. So you could have said, no, I want to get rid of Kyle Kuzma and the other two and keep Alonzo and keep a Julius Randle, whatever it is. But no, you didn't. This has been the whole Lakers experience with Jeannie Buss. That has been the whole thing. Jeannie, I'm sorry. I'm so glad that you stepped down because you're a Nepo baby and you've done nothing with the fucking Lakers. And you are predicated on star talent, and just because you don't think that LeBron is the savior doesn't mean you're fucking the savior either, Jeannie. Get fucking real.
Yep.
We can move on. I'm sorry. I was just Retro's Jeannie is crazy. You changed your name. Yeah, that was just fucking like I totally forgot. So thank you, Justin, for actually bringing that up. I'm grateful that you did because I totally forgot that shit happened, and I was just so annoyed by those specific comments because it just didn't make sense to me that Jeannie was the messenger.
That's why
of that.
I figured it'd be a touching point because you love to rant about things that quote unquote don't matter sometimes. So I figured this
that's
one would be
fucking absurd. Fuck you.
I feel like this one would be near and dear to your heart.
And it's
I
not
just
even
felt
because
like I
I'm
said,
like a Braun guy. It's just that Genie really whatever. We can
it
move on.
sounds really LeBron Stanish, but yes, it is a nepo baby criticizing somebody who's been famous since he was 12 years old. So
Well, and keep in mind, like Jules said, he is the only one that thinks LeBron is the GOAT on this podcast. I am a known LeBron hater, and I'm still going to give LeBron credit for what he did because it doesn't belong to Genie Bus. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Shout Mitch Kubiak, by the way. Underrated.
Yeah. All right. Well,
All right, Jules, what you got?
for the debacle fuckery of the week, I was very ill prepared on this. I let you guys know that. I threw something together that we did probably in like our first episode, I want to say. I had Jules and Retro pinned against each other using their favorite colleges to build their best all-time roster. Definitely a landslide argument in that situation because it was Ohio State versus
it was
UVA.
not though. But okay.
Definitely a landslide argument because it was Ohio State versus UVA.
I'm sorry.
Before you go on, before he goes on, Gunnar, I want you to know that fucking Retro totally forgot that John Havlicek went to Ohio State, and when he found out, he literally said, "Fuck." So shout out John Havlicek. So
Go
Justin,
fuck
I'm
yourself,
sorry. Go
Retro.
ahead.
To be clear, I am a Honda respecter, and I do
Yeah,
think
fuck
Honda's
off.
doing good.
So
I didn't
again,
say it was bad.
So again, you guys are probably going to have to do a little bit of research on this, like you did the first time, just to make sure. I have 3 schools on the board, and Gunnar, I'm assuming that you, of all people, are probably the least acclimated with college basketball out of the 3 of them. So I'm going to let you have your first pick of school. You can either choose from UNC, Duke, or Kentucky.
Oh yes.
The boy bloods.
Kentucky. All right.
So who would you like?
Give me UNC Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
No. You're
Or
fine.
wait.
You don't got to have players ready yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, we already know he's picking Jordan.
Well, yeah,
My
you're
bad.
gonna have.
I didn't
yeah.
realize that. My bad.
But all right. Jules, you know the history of the game probably better than Retro, but Retro has the
That's
college basketball knowledge. So, unfortunately, Jules, I'm gonna classify you as the expert here. So, Retro,
So-
you're going to get the next pick.
Oh, okay, bet that. I'll take Kentucky.
God damn it.
All
I
right,
have
so that leaves
good
Jules
fucking-
with Duke. I'll give you guys about 2 minutes.
What?
I'm gonna actually 2 minutes
W.
to figure out.
W.
Gunnar, what you get here is you get a starting 5 and a 6th man.
Say
That
that.
is
I already
absurd.
have basically a good team.
Yeah. So
From
you
what
have
I'm
about
thinking.
2 minutes. Oh man.
W.
In that time frame,
Can I have
I
like
also-
6 to 7
in that
minutes?
time frame, just to corrupt somebody's mind as we do this, I have a list of questions here.
Okay.
Mr. Retro.
Yo, gang, I'm trying to prep. Like, can we? I have ADHD, bro.
That's even funnier. Because it's your ADHD, you're trying to do something, and we're going to talk about something you didn't want to talk about.
I don't want to talk. I have no comment at this time.
So what has been the most conducive piece for the Bulls on this run that they've won on?
I have no comment at this time on Chicago or anything related to Chicago, actually. Zero comment.
Jules, what do you believe has been the most conducive piece to winning for the Chicago Bulls?
Jalen Smith and Trey Jones, like I've been telling you.
Nasty word.
Trey Jones is just way better in the half court than Josh Giddey. Just way better.
My second question. By the way, Retro, after all of these questions, it does say if Retro doesn't answer, please refer to Jules. So,
Okay.
Oh well.
are these two's play conducive to winning, and can they keep it up during a longer stretch?
No.
No,
we're
that's
gonna
all.
lose.
That's
We're
all you
gonna
got.
lose every game for the rest of the season.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Jules, maybe a more articulate answer.
And for Trey and Jalen, you mean?
Yeah.
Or like just the Bulls in general?
No, the rest of their team actually
if
sucks.
if they get more allotted minutes because Noah Senge has been off the floor, Jalen Smith has been providing great value as basically damn near a double-double guy. He's on the floor. He's a decent spacer, not a great one. But Trey Jones, his initial being able to make these reads that I'm sorry, Giddey can't make, and he's better with Kobe White on the floor than he is with Giddey. He is by and far and large who you guys should be revolving around. Should be Kobe. Kobe might get traded. I think that's a mistake. If you have Kobe, Trey Jones, Jalen Smith, Noah Senge, and Montes Buzelis for you guys for the next few years, that's a good enough core to where you're not an actual king of the night seed anymore. You guys would probably be a fifth or a sixth seed. I like that team a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, we're never gonna win ever.
All right, and with that, we'll call time so Retro doesn't feel embarrassed.
I'm good to go.
Retro, the North Carolina point guard that you have selected.
Kentucky.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gunnar's UNC. Gunnar, your point guard.
Charlie Scott.
Okay. Kentucky's point guard.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
The fact that isn't John Wall is criminal.
Yeah.
The Duke point guard.
See, this might be a crime for not putting him at PG, but I'm going to be nasty. I'm not going to pick Kyrie. I'm actually going to go Con Knibble.
That is kind of nasty.
I mean, Kyrie played 6 games at Duke, so.
Yeah, it counts.
All right, the UNC shooting guard. MJ, got it. Next. Kentucky shooting guard.
Devin Booker.
Not even the starter on his team, but I respect it. The Duke shooting guard.
This was kind of tough, but I do want to kind of push it. I'll take RJ Barrett.
Okay. The UNC small forward.
Billy Cunningham.
Retro's just going for guys that are just... All right. Kentucky.
Cliff Hagan.
Good one.
I'm a big Cliff guy.
The Duke small forward.
Grant Hill.
UNC power forward.
Oh, Bobby Jones.
Sounds like a golfer.
Secretary of Defense.
No, there's a famous golfer named Bobby Jones who's probably more relevant than a basketball player.
That's crazy.
Kentucky power forward.
Anthony Davis.
Overrated.
You mean National Player of the Year, NCAA March Madness champion? Most
Overrated.
blocks in college basketball history in March Madness.
Yeah, and they played a fraudulent Wisconsin team that year. Anyway, Duke.
Jason Tatum.
UNC center.
Bob McAdoo.
Could you have picked any player that played outside of the 90s or 80s?
What, you
70.
don't like a stretch 5?
60.
From the
Oh,
70s?
no, he has MJ. He's still good. Anyway,
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Duke.
Christian Laettner.
Ugh. Carried by Bobby Hurley.
UNC sixth man.
Justin, just to make sure I'm on the same page here, it's a true role player, right?
Absolutely not.
Oh, it can be anyone?
It can be the best player.
It can be the best
that
player
you
you haven't used.
Okay, then it's James Worthy.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Kentucky.
Sean Kemp.
Duke.
Heavy consideration for Battier, heavy consideration for Elton Brand, but I'm picking Zion.
It's fair. My coach is Pat Riley, by the way.
Gunnar, your coach?
Oh, I didn't know coach. My bad.
Yeah, we'll just put Roy. Got it.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know any
Do you
coaches.
even want to know mine?
I only added Pat Riley.
Self-explanatory.
I only added Pat Riley because he didn't coach at Kentucky, but he played at Kentucky, so he's my player coach.
No, Jules, I already had Cal written. So, UNC, Unk Ball.
Amen.
Yeah.
Charlie Scott, MJ, Billy Cunningham, Bobby Jones, Bob McAdoo, James Worthy, and Roy is the coach. Kentucky, Shea, Devin Booker, Cliff Hagan, AD, Cat, Sean Kemp. Boy, there are some holes there. Duke, Con Knipple, RJ Barrett, Grant Hill, Jason Tatum, Christian Laettner, and Zion.
Did you say there were holes? Brother,
Yeah.
well, that's the most complete roster I've ever seen.
I'm sure it is until you read the Duke squad. But yeah. All right. Well, I'm not qualified to vote on this one. I want to be clear. So we're going to debate it. So,
Yeah.
Retro and Jules.
Hi.
The UNC squad. Charlie Scott, MJ, Billy Cunningham, Bobby Jones, McAdoo with Worthy off the bench. Thoughts?
Very good. It's a very good team. Like, there's no doubt about that. Obviously, MJ and Worthy are going to work well together. So MJ is going to be your centerpiece, obviously. I think it's a very, very solid team. It's old school, which is fine. Which means you're gonna have to play a little bit of older brand of basketball.
Jules?
When it comes to the UNC squad, what I see is the wing defense that Bobby and Billy can give you. You have a rebound advantage for sure. You have somebody that can extend the floor in Bob McAdoo. Obviously, you're going to revolve this around MJ. But and with Worthy coming off the bench as another wing defender, there's a clear identity there. So it's going to be where the weaknesses are is the guard defense. If MJ is going to be able to take that load, more often than not, because he's going to have to be basically your secondary secondary guy, which he already proved with Scotty, right? He's able to do that. But how far is it going to be with the back end? It's a good squad nonetheless. There are some weaknesses there. But I think all in all, it's a well-rounded squad.
Okay. Gunnar and Jules, the Kentucky squad. Shea, Booker, Hagan, Davis, Cat, Kemp.
For me, the weakness specifically at the wing position because where you would obviously be able to work around is being able to work that court because you're going to use SGA and Booker in space and having to heavily rely on specifically AD as your rim protector. And like obviously in college he can obviously do that, right? And even now when he's healthy, but day-to-day Davis is definitely a thing. How much emphasis are you going to be in the half-court setting with SGA and Booker? And there is ample spacing because you have Karl-Anthony Towns, but there's just too many defensive flaws to where, again, with the UNC squad, like the guard play, you have the wing defenders there, but now you are so heavily reliant on Anthony Davis to anchor that squad. I don't know how much that'll be predicated on that. That's just me.
Yeah, I think as well. I think what I'd probably do is, if necessary, move AD to center, have Sean Kemp come off the bench as my power forward, and kind of just like have that be like the defensive anchor if I needed to.
I'm in agreement with Jules on relying on Anthony Davis as your primary main guy as a defender. I know Anthony Davis can do it. It's a great squad though, nonetheless. Well, they have the ample shooters. I'm still questioning the space a little bit though at times. But otherwise, good squad.
Okay. And then the Duke squad: Knipple, RJ, Hill, Tatum, Leitner, Zion. Start with Gunnar.
It's very interesting. For me, a little bit similar route with spacing. They have great ample shooters though. And RJ's proving this year that he can be a shooter. Very great at the 3-ball this year from RJ. Knipple's a question mark for me, as he's a rookie this year. Otherwise, the only other question mark is a healthy Zion. But otherwise, if they're all healthy, great squad. All well-rounded, in my opinion.
You are muted, Justin.
I know.
Oh, okay.
You're supposed to go.
Oh, my fault. So as far as this is concerned,
Guests not knowing how discourse works.
I was waiting for you because you were muted, co-host.
At
As
least
far
you
as
understand my role.
As far as this goes, I think it's a very good squad. I think it would probably be the most fun to watch. You've got Zion in college, who was just insane. Jason Tatum is really fun. RJ Barrett was great. And you have the instant chemistry between Barrett and Zion because they're part of the same team. I think the only thing I would be worried about is defense. We're talking specifically at the college level. Tatum is still going to provide you elite defense, but Zion wasn't a defender. Knipple wasn't a defender. Barrett wasn't a defender. These guys were known for their scoring, not really for their defense. That could be a problem. I don't foresee it being a problem. I think it's going to be a coaching thing. You would have to go to, like, for example, you'd have to go to Zion and be like, hey, listen, typically you're the guy that's going to carry the biggest offensive load because you're like a beast in college, right? But in this game, you're going to need to play offense. But be aware, like, we're going to need help with the rim. You've got SGA. He's going to be, like, all over the rim. You've got guys on Gunnar's team like Jordan who are going to be over that. So Zion has to play a little bit more rim protecting. But I really don't think it should be that big of an issue. Like Gunnar said, you've definitely got shooters. RJ Barrett was a phenomenal shooter in college. If I were you, I low-key probably would have included JJ Redick because I think JJ Redick would be a phenomenal spacer for this team. I think he could do a lot there. Jason Tatum can shoot. I think the team's really well built. Like I said, my only thing I would probably have included Redick because Redick as a shooter in college is a glitch, and that definitely would have added tons of spacing. But it's a good team, yeah.
So I'm gonna go one by one to each of you. It's a round-robin tournament. And the top two play for a championship. Who wins this tournament? Starting with Gunnar.
Oh wait, in this tournament?
This tournament. If these three teams play a round robin tournament, and then the top two play for the championship.
Okay.
Who do you have winning?
I lean Duke myself.
Jules?
Out of the three, probably UNC.
Retro?
I mean, I lean my boys. I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't know. I think that both teams. I think the other two teams are very well built, but I think because of the star power I have in every position, I think it would just be hard to deal with.
All right. Well, Duke clears because I'm picking it because they have the best player of all time on their team. So,
I didn't know that UNC. I didn't know that. I think you missaid UNC. I think.
Nope. No, I didn't.
I think you might have misspoke there. You mean
I
UNC?
actually didn't. Not
you
in the
mean
slightest.
Michael Jordan is going to win the tournament because he is the best player of all time?
No, it's Devin Booker.
Oh,
Yep.
Wait. So Kentucky wins.
Yeah, it'd be Kentucky. You did misspeak.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I agree. Awesome. Sounds good.
Get carried by the man
Crazy.
who was.
I
think
you know who I should have included on Kentucky off the bench. I should have put in Bradley Beal instead of Sean Kemp. That would have been a nice.
Disgusting.
Devin Booker and Bradley Beal have the chemistry. That would have
How to
been
piss
nice.
Justin off 101. Bradley Beal.
Mm.
Why do you think I picked Cotton Knippel? Because they're trying to lean fucking Justin's way. Fuck.
Yeah.
Funny enough, before we get to the history fact of the day, on Friday, I'm actually going to watch his little brothers put belt to ass to whatever team they play.
Yeah, that's sick.
For those of you that don't know, I do live 15 minutes from Wisconsin Lutheran High School, where his brothers do play. And they are, as of right now, if I remember correctly, they are 16, either 13 or 16 and 0 on the year. First ranked team in the state, either 6th or 10th ranked team in the nation.
Sound like
This
bombs.
team is flat out fucking disgusting.
All three connections. All three.
Mind you, his brothers probably play 15 minutes a game because they put so much belt to ass to teams that it's not even funny. They won a game earlier this year. I'm pretty sure it was like 97-33. Like, they... Actually, I'm going to see if I can pull it back up. I'm going to read you the results of their games at the high school level. It's unbelievable what this team is doing.
It's going to be crazy when all three Knippels make it to the league and then they all have kids, so that there's going to be like 15 Knippels in the next generation in the league.
Hey, I'd much rather have whoever Asia and Bam's kid is. I'd much rather have that in the NBA just being the model.
Whoever their kid is going to be insane.
So they are 15-0, 6-0 in conference play. National ranked 10th, Wisconsin rank 1.
Wow.
The only game that I've seen that they've been competitive with, they played a high school out of Indiana called Pike, and they won 68-65 in overtime. That was their first game of the year.
That's crazy.
Interesting.
They proceeded to play the school that I'm going to watch them play at home. They beat them 91-34. Their next game 68-46. Their next game 69-20. Their next game 92-71. 77-33, 49-38, 57-54, 67-52, 74-54, 76-43, 83-58, 73-45, and 70-29.
Wild.
Yeah, Jules, if only it was Kalel Ware instead, right?
Factual.
Yeah.
What are the on-offs in high school? I want to know that. Gunnar, thoughts?
Bruh, no. I'm done with that community, Jules.
There was one of my buddies who goes to one of the schools they played earlier this year said that the score was like 43-7 at halftime.
Do we know if the savior of Lemoyne attended this school at any point in time?
Probably. Has to, right?
No, remember he's from New York.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is a New York school.
Remember, he claimed to be from New York, but our said youth athletic hoops expert, shout out Sports Heaven, has never fucking heard of him. And this man has coached probably 90% of the New York kids that have made it to the NBA in the last 20 years.
I can tell you, the savior of Lemoyne, he just moves under. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. That's why you haven't heard of him. He's moving under the radar.
Calm down, 23-23.
Yeah, baby. 500, perfect as it should be. Like the Steelers will be for the next 10 years now that they have Mike McCarthy.
500 is generous, but this isn't a football podcast, so I'm glad we're skipping the week so I can cool down. That'd be.
What's your history fact of the day, Justin?
Well, my history fact of the day, January 26th. One of the darkest days in the hoops and NBA community for the last 6 years. 2020, January 26th, LA Lakers basketball legend Kobe Bryant and daughter Gianna Bryant tragically passed in helicopter crash due to foggy conditions above Calabasas. Yeah. I remember this literally like it was yesterday. I was walking into the gym to play in the Sunday church league that I still play basketball in, and my phone just immediate alert, and I walk through the door of the gym and everyone's getting ready because we were the first game of the day, and literally I was like, in a church, mind you, like I was in a church, so I was just caught off when this happened. I literally went, "Are you fucking serious?" And everybody just turned and froze, and they're like, "What?" Like I literally, like, the pastor came up to me, he's like, "You can't be like that." I'm like, and like I literally went, "Kobe Bryant just died," and I'm telling you right now, I watched 70 people immediately go to their phone, and that gym went radio silent. I'm telling you, people started crying. We held a moment of silence, prayer. Our game was delayed 45 minutes in a church rec league, mind you. It was the most, like, shell-shocking thing. It got to the point where nobody wanted to play. Like, nobody wanted to play.
Yeah.
Everyone just wanted to kind of, like, share that space together as, like, basketball fans, and didn't, like, they wanted to just, like, collectively just sit there. So, like, this for me, like, it hit so much harder for me because I was about to go play. Like, you guys know when you're about to play something and, like, you're listening to that music, you're getting into that mode, you're getting into this. It literally felt like just a shell shock, out of body experience. Like, time stopped for a second. I was never the biggest Kobe fan, but, like, this was just, it hit so differently and so hard. Like, man, Gigi, rest in peace, Gigi, rest in peace, Mamba. Like, like I said, probably one of the saddest things to happen in the basketball community in a long time.
Yeah, I agree. I remember it like it was yesterday too, because funny enough, when I was still living in Philly, my my mom told me that, oh, Kobe Bryant died, and I'm like, what's your source? And she's like, TMZ. And we know that, like, TMZ has some
Biggest
stuff where
hope
it's like,
shit
oh,
ever, right?
yeah, right. That's what I mean. It's like, oh, it's TMZ. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't put much merit into that. So when I got the notification, I yelled back at my mom, "Oh my God, Kobe Bryant died." She's like, "No shit, Sherlock. I just told you that." And I'm like, "No." So, what hit most hard for me, not to dox myself, but I lived around the Lower Merion area. I was about 15 minutes down from Lower Merion. We used to play them in football. We played them in basketball. Basically, like the county right next to mine. So we would do a whole bunch of stuff against Lower Merion. Getting in the Kobe Bryant gym it's just ginormous. That school is ginormous because of how much money Kobe was able to invest in that. And I was there when everybody put the flowers on Lower Marion's doorstep. I was one of the people who did that. And just like you, Justin, I'm not the biggest Kobe guy, but I do understand his impact, the emotional attachment that fans have, that Lakers fans had when Kobe passed. Because what gets lost in translation is that we can understand the all-time great play and the legendary moments, but we can't, like, overrate said moments. And what helps Kobe a lot is not what's more disappointing, I guess, that a lot of people don't talk about is what he was doing post basketball. What he was doing both with the, like, being Oscar nominated in the short film that he was able to make, as well as being so heavily impacted in the women's side of things, bringing Gigi to games, being like this whole family to the identification of basketball. Because Justin and all of us were talking about it prior. Gigi was supposed to go to UConn, and they put the jersey on the chair for the whole year. And when people watched that, they got emotional. Gigi and Paige were going to run college basketball on the women's side of things. Like how people talk about Juju here and around USC is how they were going to talk about Gigi and UConn. Like that's a complete fact.
And it just happened to be poetic that they won UConn won the national championship the year that Gigi was supposed to be a freshman. And it's just insane. Like I said, Jules, I'm glad you brought that up because I'll be honest with you, like, if Kobe doesn't do what he did after basketball for women's basketball and pave the way for a lot of these girls to not only just play basketball, but to have their voices heard, to have big brands attracted to them. Like what he did with Sabrina Ionescu to get her to a level where she was just probably the most recognizable women's basketball player at the time. and what he was able to do to just grow that game. Like, Kobe Bryant was probably the best ambassador the sport has ever seen. And I don't mean that just for like the NBA standpoint on his career and what he did for the league and what he did for basketball on its own. He just did it for the sport, for the love of the game. This man was, like I said, he tried to bring awareness overseas. He tried to bring women's basketball to relevancy, to try to make it equal, to make it feel like it was. On top of that, he's pumping the Mamba Elite Academy, and he's pumping out talent after talent after talent. So like, to see this happen, and I'm like it's sad for the Kobe thing, but like, it's not just sad for Kobe. It's all the family members that were lost in this helicopter crash.
Yeah.
It was all the it's all the young women that were lost with bright futures ahead. So it's like, it's not just Kobe, just because he was the icon and the significant piece. Like, this was technically a global tragedy, and this made the world stop. This actually put life into perspective for a second, where that was a time frame when people just, I feel like, didn't have a concept of life, and people were going crazy, and the world was in a shit position. And it was finally something globally, as tragic as it had to be, even on a quote-unquote minuscule level, and I'm not diminishing to a minuscule level, but this generational talent, this generational impact man, not player, man, devastatingly crashing with his daughter and her teammates and some of their parents. The world stopped, and the world was in unison for a split second. And it was just, even if you didn't watch basketball, you knew who Kobe Bryant was. Like, you knew who this man was. And it was just such a awkward and like numbing feeling. And it was universal. Like, it brought the world together a little bit. So like I said, talking about him passing and remembering where I was and how it was, and then 2 years ago with UConn winning it, but like seeing Gigi's jersey on the bench, like, I remember in the tournament they had her jersey and a pair of the Mambasita Kobe's on the bench. Like, it was that just brought all those emotions right back when you saw that. It was like, you saw that happen, but then you see all the edits and the stuff coming out after, like the Gigi holding the trophy, or Kobe holding Gigi holding, like, all of that stuff. Like, it just brought it back to like it had just happened again. But it wasn't the tears of sadness. It was like the damn, this is poetic. Like, this is like how it's supposed to be. Like, and I hate to say it on here, but it's like, it's definitely the God works in mysterious ways kind of a thing. Like, that happened at that time, and it just, yeah, man, I don't want to start crying and get emotional, but it just definitely, it chokes me up, and it's insane that I can't believe it's been 6 years already. I really can't. Like,
Yeah, very it's heart touching for a lot of people. And it's unfortunate because, going on the basketball debate side of things, from other platforms that I've been on, we have seen retroactively that impact has been so much now that people put Kobe in a lot of the conversations that is strictly emotionally detached. And it's upsetting because the very first like playoff series I ever watched and became a basketball fan, why I'm such a big KG guy, was the 2008 finals. And seeing Kobe take all those tough shots, it's like, God damn, you're shooting over 3 people and you're making it. Like, that's absurd, and all this kind of stuff. So I understand the impact of Kobe. I do understand that. But I do think it's quite unfortunate that the FC is so still emotionally distraught over something that was 6 years ago, that he gets put in the conversations that he does. And again, I'm not trying to diminish Kobe in whatever said way possible, but you clearly see the evidence of it in the conversations that we have today. And it's emotionally irresponsible for people to do that.
He's in his own category as far as I go. Is like, was he a generational talent? Yes, but it's like, if you want to put him in a GOAT debate, the GOAT debate for him is, he would be, in my opinion, Mr. Basketball. Like, he did not only what he did on the floor, but off the floor was just so impactful. So, like, before you send us, I think we should just go around, just give our favorite, like, anybody has a favorite Kobe moment, just talk about it real quick, and then we'll get out of here. Gunnar, we can start with you.
Yeah, Gunnar, you start.
Yeah. No, don't start with me.
Yeah, you too? Who's cutting onions, dude?
So, Kobe, meaningful to me, Boston fan, right? Lakers Celtics tighten it with each other as rivals. Bruh, the heartwarming, his going away game at the Garden, watching that shit live, there's that. I remember the 2010 finals when it's him and Rondo going at each other at times. There's just so many different things, and it's like, it just hurts.
Retro.
Retro?
Yeah, I would say for me, March 7th, 2010, Kobe is standing in front of I think it was Matt Barnes, and Matt Barnes is about to inbound the ball, and every part of the human body is supposed to flinch when somebody has a basketball this close to your face and pretends to throw it at you, and Kobe is just stone-faced. Like, he's just looking right at him. You're not going to do anything with that basketball. I feel like it was so representative of Kobe as, like, just a hard competitor that you've got a guy that's faking to throw a basketball at your head, and he just stands there looking at you. It was just this mentality of he just didn't care. He was so intense. It was so it's just unlike anything I've ever seen. I get people remember the games that he had all the great games and performances, but for me, it's like that drive, that ability to just not think of anything but basketball in that moment. It shows why he was so great, because he just had the ability to. I know a lot of people like to compare him to Jordan. He had that mentality, the Mamba mentality of just like, I'm so intense. I'm so locked in. I don't care about anything else but basketball right now, and nothing can pull him out of it. It was so incredible. Like, it's insane.
Jules?
For me, it's funny. It might be a cop out answer, but it's his final game against Utah, the 60-point game, because there's two stories behind it. Famously, Shaq said after his death that he spoke to him privately and said, "Go get." I believe it was 50, or it was either 40 or 50 points, and Kobe laughed it off, saying like, "Oh, I'm not going to go and do that," and just ends up getting 60. And the second part of that is when he hit 60, a lot of people forget. Shout out to him. Gordon Hayward specifically put his foot on the line to create a violation, a free throw violation, just in case Kobe missed, because he understood how big that moment was for Kobe. And the Utah Jazz weren't really shit that year, right? But there's times in which in a game, even though it's a close game, you do understand the moment behind it. And Gordon Hayward objectively understood that this is Kobe's final game, and he's on the precipice of a historic all-time great performance as his last game. If he misses this, let me help him out. And obviously he doesn't miss it, but if he did, that would have been a free throw violation, and he could have redone that. And now, would he do that multiple times? I don't know, but I feel like Gordon Hayward probably would, because he's such a good guy off the court. Like, I'm very thankful that Gordon Hayward did that. I'm very thankful that Shaq was able to be like, go and do this for your final performance, and Kobe, understandingly so, said, let me go and do better for the final Mamba game. So I think the 60-point game is predicated on that.
Yeah, mine for sure. I mean, Mine is definitely just the definition of Mamba mentality, and I don't mean to be cheesy because I do think it's his best game, but it's definitely the Raptors game in 2006. He puts 81 on Jalen Rose's head, and on 61% shooting, drops 81 points. Like, unheard of at the time to see somebody take that volume of shots and just consistently dagger after dagger after dagger, and second highest scoring game of all time. I don't know if anybody else is going to catch that. I mean, we all thought that, those of us that watched it, we thought he was going to get to the 100. We thought he was going to tie that record. We thought he was going to do it. But that to me just showed the Mamba mentality, the killer instinct. If my team's not playing the greatest, I'm going to go crazy and I'm going to backpack it and I'm going to do it. So, I mean, that game to me that defined Kobe Bryant's mentality. But yeah.
Yeah. Great Kobe moments for everybody. He will be missed, and hopefully, the Lakers don't become inept within the next few years, so that they can continue to recognize how great of a player and how impactful he was for the Los Angeles Lakers. But for that was We Don't Know Ball basketball edition. Thank you, Gunnar, for being our guest / third co-host. Because fuck retro again.
Bro, it's such an overplayed.
It's not the time.
Well, he was the one who called me the third co-host. It's an overplayed meme.
We're not right now.
But please like, subscribe, comment, sub to our TikTok, follow us on Instagram if we have any. Please just show us that, talk to us if we don't know ball. Again, we'll keep saying it to the day we die. We're just 3/4 guys that like to talk sports, and love or say hate us, we're going to give our opinions on it, our viewpoints of it. We might argue between the 3/4 of us, but at the end of this day, we still care about each other and respect each other's viewpoints. So with that, we don't know ball. We'll catch you guys next week.
Rip Mamba.